Welcome to Factorio Space Exploration. My name is Nilaus. This is the recap of stream day number 43. So this was a bit of a strange episode, you could say. Why was it strange? Well, it was strange because I had intended to just fix a few mistakes on Novice that we'd identified previously, and then go to orbit and continue building more stuff, more bigger stuff. In the end, it turned out that we basically never left Novice surface. And we had a lot of things to do, but in retrospect, I really found it quite enjoyable just working on a base like this, just tweaking things here and just getting these notifications from logistics train networks, something like this. Like this basically informs me, plastic bars not found. Okay, well, plastic bars not found. Then you go to plastic and figure out, is it performing? Is it simply just a fluke? Well, things are coming in at a regular pace, just barely good enough, but it is coming in. And things are going out at a pretty decent rate as well. By the time this one leaves, let's see how much we have stored up at this point. So this one is leaving 4.2. Okay, interesting. And then it's already at 3. So you can say, yeah, okay. So once in a while, it's not really filling up, but it's getting there. Could get some more. That's something else. But let's look at the stuff that we were working on. So I started up a lot of research in orbit, and that just really got my base really into gear. What I also did was I actually filled up the rocket with, you can see here again, it's filled up with 23,000 space platforms, and I already sent 25,000 space platforms to orbit as well. So this is also putting a huge draw on the base. And as that really kicked off, we ran into something I had not actually anticipated, and that was power issues. So as we really got the base going, we saw that, one of the things was we were missing a lot of modules. So by the time I got the modules back in this location, it actually really kicked off the power consumption, and that somehow spiked beyond what we were seeing. It was going up to 3.4 at times, primarily when all the roboports were busy. 1.4K roboports, they are not really consuming very much power right now, but they can just really shoot up. And what happens then? What happened was that the whole base ran into power issues, and that took basically an hour to fix, and we're still in the process of fixing it. But simplest put, we had to put in more solar panels. I'm actually going to put in more solar panels, probably like here, because why not? Honestly, why not? If we don't have anything else to put in a location, let's put solar panels. And I'm never going to use those locations. Anywhere where I have resources inside like this, it's going to be used, but anything like this location doesn't have resources, why not put some solar panels? Yeah. This one we can't, but if you have a full grid of nothing, then solar panels is the thing to put there. That one could actually also be solar panels eventually if you just go out here. But the thing is, we have our nuclear power plant. We actually found an error. It was not getting enough water. So if we look at it now, it's kind of difficult to see, but you have to go really close to see if they're all spinning. If they're all spinning, you're happy. And this was when it was running at full tilt. If it's not running at full tilt, then it doesn't consume enough steam, and then it will have steam enough to all of them produce. This one was not, each of these is supposed to produce 800 megawatts of power. So that's 3.2 gigawatts of power. However, that just didn't work. And we found out that this was misaligned. It was literally like that. So no connection means it missed 1/8 of the water, and the performance dropped. I don't know if we can even see that in the overview. If you look at the power consumption over 1 hour, 10 hours. No, can't really see that. So what I had to do was build a new power plant, and luckily there were some really generous donations because power plants are expensive. Each one of these takes 500 concrete, so that's 3,000 concrete here, another 3,000, another 3,000, another 3,000. So we have to spend 12,000 concrete on just to expand the power. So we did it, and it worked, and it was awesome. And it was actually really quite a relief that it's so easy to scale up. Basically just plop these 4 down and you have another 3.2 gigawatts of power. And these are, we fixed the mistakes here. Here, they are now aligned. So that one, getting some solar panel just because. What this also means is now we are consuming quite a lot of additional uranium. We also noticed at the end of last time that this one was running out. We are actually not really getting enough here. We are down to, and these are just killing me. Well, if I do this thing, and then I do Reese, and then I paste this one down. Let's see if it can display the numbers again. So we have 43,000 here, so it's actually dipping. I've now made a condition here that it does not go in until this one has the same amount. Because it's actually, as it happens right now, we have too much of this and not enough of that. And they're working way too slow. They probably need some speed modules here, because we are getting stuff in, we're just not using it fast enough. This line here is just not consuming it. So what's happening is, interesting. And here they are just filling up. I think this is filling up primarily, not because it's not keeping up, but simply because we just pulled out a lot here. And now we need to refill this storage location. All the belt storage has to be filled up. Plus we are now having twice as much consumption. I don't think I'm in trouble when it comes to uranium. We have filled up this one, which is filling up. How much we got here? Oh, it's actually being pulled in. Okay, so 40,000 is now stored. We definitely need to speed up the consumption, or the, this is perfect. Yes, so this one has to be filled, sped up. So this one here, so we can process the uranium much faster. Small detail. What else we did? We saw that petroleum was running out. Petroleum was running out for various reasons, but actually this one, this mine here is pretty dead. So that was that's it. So I had to bring in some more coal coming in here, just filling it in. It's putting in here, but it is prioritizing. It should be. Interesting how it's not. Oh, right, I know that. That's because it's on the outside lane. Ah, typical. But that doesn't matter. If it goes out on the other side, then it goes in. Fine. Anyway, what happens here is this one is producing petroleum and heavy oil and lubricant. But lubricant and heavy oil, they're basically standing still. Right? Yeah, they're basically standing still. This one's slowly going up. But that's more petroleum thanks to more coal. And we just had to get another coal deposit in, which is very simple to do by now, getting at this one. That is easy just to fill up. So we're going to do, this is pretty much how we want to do it in the future when we have raw resources. However, we did notice as well, if we look at this one's barely keeping up. So as soon as it hits 50, a new train comes in. This one is minus. This one, as soon as it can request another one will be requested. And if we look at the output here, this one is idling. So having raw crude oil being idle is a bad thing. And that means we are going to look at oil processing next time. I'm actually going to write it down because I kind of forget. And uranium processing. Those are things we absolutely need to scale up here. But aside from this, I don't think we need a lot of scaling up. Even our red circuits are doing quite well, 34,000. But plastic is not keeping up. That means also this one, plastic is barely keeping up. So plastic is also probably something, but I think plastic is going to be better if we get more oil processing, so we get more petroleum available. And this one is actually filling up. That's a unique circumstance. That was not the case at the beginning. We have down here, what we also had a big issue with was actually being able to supply the cargo sections fast enough. They were simply not being produced fast enough as the whole base got into action and started launching. You can see up here, top left-hand corner, the rocket launch. I set the rocket launch as 1 rocket per new subscriber to the channel. And those are sort of the new subscribers we've accumulated over the course of the game. And it turns out that I was basically saying that's the lower limit of how many rockets I'm going to launch. I had no idea how active this would be, so we definitely definitely easily succeeding this number, unless something drastic happens with the number of subscribers, but I don't think so. So that's basically it. This is working. This is all in an idle state, which is exactly how I want it to be. What else? We were also fixing quite a few mistakes we had here. We had some stations that were not running. We had some... Let's not go into detail with all the things that were not working. Had some belts, some output that were filtering, but we do have one thing that kind of bugs me a bit, and that's the fact that both blue circuits and red circuits are idle. That, I mean, it's really nice that they are idle, but that just means that our orbital base is not really doing anything. And the orbital base hasn't really been doing much. You can see how few robots are actually flying around. And I guess this is because if we look at it, everything is now hinging upon... If we change this one, and which one did we get before? See, I want to be able to get different... Did you have something that was requiring that one, I think. If we do this, hopefully something will kick into gear. The issue is that if I do one of these, like only consume one product, then 3/4, in this case, it will only consume the blue, but that means all of this here is idle, and that's not really beneficial. So you really have to sort of alternate between the ones so we can get what we need. Of course, there will be a slight part where it goes towards the one that needs it, but there is definitely an issue here. It looks like our green stuff is actually not working, but that's something we're going to look with. I deliberately did not spend time on the orbital base. What we really need to do is make sure that all of this is performing as it should be, scaling this up and getting the blue one to the next tier. There are 2 more tiers, and I'm kind of worried about that in terms of how we're going to build the base. I might do something completely different, because this thing is taking too much design effort, and I don't really feel it's worth it to continue, especially this part down here was just absolutely insane for the biological science. And honestly, I'm not as thrilled about doing these designs that turn out to be this. And I can also see on the view count that this fidgeting here is not something that has a lot of interest, because if you are not intimately familiar with the mod pack, this is just a lot of fancy graphics that look weird, and I have no idea what any of these items are. And that's a bit of a shame. Well, if we look at good old Navis, we all know what these things are. This is a nuclear power plant. You can like it or you cannot. This is solar panels. We all know that. So fidgeting too much with too many buildings that are just weird is something I'm going to be a bit more hesitant about. And I need to figure out how to do that. Maybe trains, I don't know. But obviously we cannot build a base of this size in orbit. That's just too big. So that's, you can see petroleum gas is not keeping up. That's one of the few things that are not keeping up, and uranium processing should also be scaled up. We also have our little Alfred. We have not been there. I don't know. I just have a bit of tough time going there and figuring out what I need to bring there. We'll get there and we'll set this up. But at this point, we don't really need iron. So focusing on an iron supply is not really necessary. This one also has the perk that it actually has a decent amount of uranium, believe it or not. So I could actually also do uranium here if I felt so inclined. Right, so that's gonna be it for this episode. Plans for the next time? Well, we're gonna fix a few things here, but then we're gonna go to orbit. I want a bigger spaceship so we can fly around, and also one that looks better. And then we're going to find out if we're going to work more on the space stuff, maybe do a complete overhaul of how to organize the orbital base. Maybe even take a look at some other... That's an asteroid field. I wish we could figure out if some of these locations had worse solar utilization because they're further away. That would be interesting. I wish I could see that here. It doesn't say anything. Because this one would be awesome. Look at the radiation. There's no radiation. Anyway, that's beside the point. I'm going to figure that out. So, thank you very much for watching. I hope you are enjoying the series as much as I am. I'm really just loving the fact that you build the space and there's actually a constant draw upon resources. And that That's awesome. So it's not just like grinding the next infinite science. Really, really, really like that. And so we're going to continue for a lot longer. If you want something more different, if you have some good ideas about restructuring the orbital base, let me know, and then we'll see you from there. Thank you for joining. See you in the next Twitch stream or recap video. Until then, stay effective.